Welcome to LearnWake. This is Brandon Judd responding to a video analysis request uploaded by user jeb1974. And this video is titled Heel Side Frustration. So most of us have gone through some sort of heel side frustration in our path to learning more. So you're not alone here. But in this description, you gave a lot of information. So before jumping into this description, I'm going to play a little bit of this video so we can see your heel side jumps. And it's kind of funny how this works because the solution is probably nothing what you had in mind. Right now, your heel side jump is actually really good. So I know that we can see the top of the board a little bit, but it's only because it's too good for your own ability level, and I'll explain that here in a second. So let's go down to your description. It says, this is pretty much what all my jumps look like now. I got some good coaching this spring, and I feel much more comfortable with the approach. I think my cut is pretty smooth, but I'm still blasting through the wake instead of going up and getting that floaty pop. I know you can see the top of the board on some of them, so maybe I'm letting off my edge right at the top of the wake. I've tried to lean back more, but it often ends up turning into a railie edge, and I get bucked at the wake. Before we go too much further into the description, first of all, thank you for this. This helps us understand what you're trying to get out of this. And secondly, the reason that you're getting a bit of a railie edge when you're leaning more is because you're actually doing this so well. This is a very good heel side wake jump, and the reason why it's a little uncomfortable for you right now is because you need to improve your board control, you need to improve your toe side jumps, you need to improve your switch jumps, your cuffed riding, and all of that. So one thing I would recommend before we get too far and before I forget, this just came to mind, is do some heel side shifties, meaning that you turn the board front side about 90 degrees or back side about 90 degrees. It's like halfway to a 180, and then you come back. And what that will do is that will just open up your comfort level a lot. So little side note tangent there, but keep that in mind. So when you're edging through this, you're actually loading it up so well and so strong that it is forcing you into a little bit of a like drifted edge here. You're going slightly off axis in the middle of it. But I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I just think that because if you were to turn that into a back roll or eventually a railie or anything that you need to load and release, this is fantastic. That's exactly what I would want your edge to look like if you were, setting up for a back roll or something like that. So in reality, there's a couple things we can do. We need to change how you're thinking about this edge if you want to do a different type of wake jump. Because right now you're doing the textbook perfect progressive edge kind of load and release wake jump. We can change this to more of an ollie edge and get you flattening off of your edge more on your way in, so you're not edging as hard and leaning so much. And you're using more legs instead of all that lean. The wake here is pretty big, and this is also why you get pushed a little bit off axis, is because there's so much force here. Imagine that the wake was 3 times that size. The longer you ride through the wake, the more pressure it's pushing against your board, and eventually you just wouldn't be able to handle that, and it would push your board out behind you. So you're doing a really good job on this, and I would not get too hard on yourself. This is very common for people who get a lot of coaching, is they'll want to try and perfect their wake jump to the nth degree, and it's more than you need right now. In fact, this has progressed so good that your toe side jumps, and I don't know if you did any toe side jumps here or not, you just crossed the wake's toe side. Maybe you were trying to get some toe side jumps, but you mentioned here on your toe side jumps you feel like you're too heavy on your front foot and all that. There's a few toe side drills you can work on, but I would just get you more comfortable on the board and comfortable in the air. So do some of those shifties, do some grabs, do some more toe side jumps, and then do some sliding drills, some cuffed drills, do some small 180s. Just get comfortable with it and play around. The wake is really big here, and you're able to do as much as you can without changing your edge. So that all being said, I know it's a mouthful. That all being said, we're going to talk to you a little bit today about how to do more of an ollie edge so that you can start adding stuff to it if you wanted to do some 180s. Because right now this is loaded up really well, like I mentioned, for like a back roll. So I will give you an example here, and this is a good one to watch. You can actually watch this whole video, stalefish grab, heel side jump, analyzing the clip. This is a instructional video on how to do a stalefish. However, in this clip, it also walks through the approach a little bit. It doesn't necessarily outline the ollie edge, but I'm going to walk you through some of that today, and you can watch this later if you want for more reference. So since I am doing a stalefish grab, I prefer the line tension to be really soft in the air, and I just substitute the amount of lean that I'm reducing from, like your type of edge. I'm reducing that lean, and I'm adding in some extra leg push. And by adding in this leg push, I can still go really high, but it just makes my line tension not quite so intense, which is what is pulling you off axis currently. Alright, so you'll notice how low I get here. I edge in really low, and I'm not like cranking in against the line. I'm not really loading this line at all. I'm just getting really low. And then as I stand tall through the wake, it's just a really hard leg push. Like you'll see I stand back at the wake to where you can see the bottom of my board pretty good. But I just push my back leg, all the bend out of my back leg, all the way through the wake. And what that does is it sends me up with nice, you can see the line tension is kind of wobbly, with nice line tension to where I can get into the grab position comfortably and not have to worry about getting kind of pulled over when I'm one-handed. And then riding away. So again, in slow motion, I just get really low. I feel like in this position the weight is kind of on the balls of my feet, even though I know that it's on my heel side edge. Technically, like my heel side edge is lower than my toe side edge, obviously, which is what is making this work. But when I'm edging in, I feel like my weight is on the balls of my feet, and it's just because of the angle that I'm adding just this tiny bit of lean while still being on the balls of my feet. And then when I stand through the wake here, I just stand up with my upper body, and I make sure that as I stand up, I also stand back a little bit away from the rope. And then fully locked out. And you'll see the board here is a lot closer to the boat than my shoulders based on how much of the bottom graphic you can see. So I'm just standing back really hard. It's not necessarily that I'm loading up on the way in, rather I'm staying pretty flat on the way in so that I can kind of stand back and tall against all the pressure of the wake. And that's what's going to send me up to get the grab and make everything nice and comfy. But that is going to be more of the ollie edge, and I would use that same kind of edge to do a 360 or front side or backside spins or whatever, as long as they were on axis. That's the type of pop at the wake and the type of approach I would give it that frees up the line tension to be nice and easy on me. So that being said, if you want to work on your wake jump more, that's one way to do it, is to learn a new one. I don't want to change the wake jump that you have right now. Like, this wake jump is a good wake jump. I want you to keep that wake jump. I just want you to add a different type of wake jump into your bag of tricks, which is this style of wake jump. You can start adding grabs to this one. You can start spinning, doing shifties and everything. So the next thing that I want you to do is get your switch riding better and get your board control better. So here's a drill called Speeding Up Switch Progress. And this video takes you through a whole bunch of backside sliding drills at really slow speeds, some traction drills, all the way through some, this one's scary, all the way through some speed whips and some cuffed riding, and everything. So you go through all these different drills, and this helps you, if you do them regular and switch, it really helps you get more comfortable on your board. And all of those problems that you feel like you're experiencing right now sort of work themselves out. It's really weird when you stop paying attention to your perfecting your wake jumps and you start paying attention to this other stuff. This other stuff ends up benefiting your wake jump more than just working on a wake jump, if that makes sense. So if getting in the cuffed position is uncomfortable for you, we have a video called Getting into the Cuffed Riding Position. This will give you a little bit more understanding on how the physics works, as well as some steps to get into the cuffed riding position. And then start working on some 180s once you've gotten your switch riding a little bit more comfortable, and you can do some cuffed stuff. Do some ollie 180s, some inside out 180s, 180s in the flats here. It takes you through an entire step-by-step ladder of how to get a heel side, front side 180 wake to wake. But this again is using more of an ollie edge style, and then going through all of these different drills to get you more comfortable. So hopefully that helps. I know it is frustrating, but it might just be that you're pursuing it in the wrong way, and sometimes we hit these walls in our riding, and it's weird. Sometimes the best solution is to walk away from that trick, work on a different trick, and then come back to it at another time. I know that you really want to have your wake jumps be really good and great, so you can progress them into further tricks, but it all kind of comes in doses. So be patient. I know it's frustrating, but if we can help you in any other way on any other tricks, let me know. But right now, again, this is great, and this stalefish grab, heel side jump, analyzing the clip, study that, see if you can mimic this. If you can mimic this, then you're good to go. And if you're having troubles mimicking that, then even work on those other drills I mentioned, and your progress will speed up eventually. It just gets frustrating at times. So thanks again for uploading the video. If you have any other questions, hit us up down here in the comments below, or you can upload another video of you trying something else, and we'll work on that with you. Thanks again.